Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Crusader Kings 2 Horse Lords. As you can see, we are basically where we left off. There is a slight rebellion in this little area here. I wish I would have waited until until uh, until that happened. Then I could have pounced on the territory that I wanted to obtain in the last episode. But also another little disclaimer: I am, as you can probably tell, fairly ill, so my speech is probably not going to be that legible, and therefore, I apologise for that if that is indeed the case for you guys. I just wanted to really get moving on this particular sort of let's play series because at the end of the day, it's been going on for quite a while, and I don't really want to cause another lot of fatigue, essentially, with the game itself. So, with that said, let's continue, and let's just really hope and pray for the fact that we can indeed get this the power base back up to where it uh, belongs, essentially. So I'm going to ask him to end the plot. He's going to refuse. Uh, and yeah, I mean, we've got a waning power base, quite ridiculously, really. Um, and that's because of my own sort of shortcomings and sort of not naivety, but I would say it's more impatience because, as I said, I really do want to have a full let's play of this game on my channel, and as yet it hasn't really happened, and it really hasn't happened with a few of the games that I've played on my channel of late, and that's because I've had certain obligations outside of the channel, obviously, and that's caused me to sort of put the channel on some occasions on the back foot. But I hope you do sort of stay with me, and we will get somewhere with this particular game. Because I am, as I said, really enjoying the game on numerous occasions. Because this game really is enjoyable, especially when you get into a situation. Oh, my wife is pregnant. Um, like we are currently, where we are a king essentially, but we're a king underneath the sort of subjugation of someone else, so we can kind of plot our way out of that subjugation, and therefore, strike it out for ourselves. How like that's obviously that's already happened to some degree because we spent a couple of years independent of of the Khanate that we are under now, but he saw fit at that time to try and take over or try and subjugate me, and indeed did succeed. That was a bit of a setback, I would say, and and also really. This is my daughter, so I'm not really too bothered about the education of the child because although there's no need for her to be educated by a marshal, probably hang on 1 second. We need to think about this. We do need to think about this. Think Okay. Sorry, 1 second. I think that'll do. Which, you know, I've also found with my recent episodes, they've been lackluster in terms of like the quality and you know, commentary of said game. But that's because, you know, I'm I'm trying to concentrate on what's actually developing in front of me, and I've come to the sort of realization now that I'm just going to literally, you know, play the game very organically, and if I lose, I lose. But at the same time, I provide, you know, some sort of commentary to what's going on in front of us. Because you know, I've looked back on previous videos, and I sort of found myself even sort of thinking to myself, how would anyone sort of really sit through this? So we've got ourselves a sun, as you can see, which is lovely. Um, yeah, I can't really see that name. I think that's Ketes, Kittis, or yeah. Anyway, and also, as you probably may or may not have known in previous videos, I don't like to really kind of read out loud. So this is probably not the greatest game for me to play, but I do enjoy it. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I'm gonna try and put a bit more effort into my channel. When I say that, I mean, of course, to basically produce more and better, like more content and more variable content. If you can understand what I'm saying. So more discussion videos. Although my last one wasn't really watched, that was to do with the. I don't even know why I want to become a paragon of virtue. That's not really my sort of kind of ambition really at the moment. But we could change that, obviously. Like yeah, so as I was saying, there isn't very much like sort of reaction to my video, which that's fine, obviously. But you know, I'm gonna try and be a bit more active when it comes to certain items on the news, specifically relating with gaming. Obviously, there are people out there that are already doing this, but I just want to basically give my interpretation. As I've said to you in the past, my sort of real ambition is to kind of be that guy who give the perspective of the disabled gamer. And obviously, I've recently got back into Street Fighter 4, which that's an awesome game. It's one of those games where you can just dip in and out of, and you still enjoy yourself, but obviously it helps if you learn particular aspects of the game to increase your enjoyment. Whilst I'll be rabbiting on a bit here, there's a lot of things going on around me, so let me just fill out this council here. So yeah, essentially, Yeah, I've been dipping in and out of Street Fighter 4 in anticipation for Street Fighter 5. And, you know, my friend CP Skills, if you don't know who he is, I would recommend you go and check out his Twitch channel. But he is the one that's currently sort of tutoring me in the ways of this game. So that's why also I haven't really sort of been as active on my YouTube channel as I would like, because you know I'm trying to essentially do other things, and I need to diversify myself a little. But obviously I would like to come back to the channel and really put time and effort into the channel now, because I've really got some good ideas. What I think are good ideas anyway, and it would very much, I would very much like to test them out and see what the response is, and then of course I'm going to accept. Yeah. So essentially, that is the sort of plan of action. I noticed that there are two revolts here, and I've gone on the side of my liege. Uh, Basically, that's possibly a good idea at this moment in time, because I don't really want to be in any wars that I would necessarily lose. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would like to do, as I said, more discussion videos around certain topics, uh, with a certain focus, which I've already discussed, and you know, okay, okay. We've lost the trait kind. Okay, that's a bit irritating. Uh, and we'll see what happens. Really, you know, we have a new heir. I don't accept this guy as my new heir. I would like my father to really take over the the Khanate if I die. But he's probably not going to die actually before me. Let me see. Indeed, how old he is. He's only 46. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So I have literally sort of said, my father will take over if I die, which is very nice indeed. We need to have a look at who my heir is, possibly, or his heir. Sorry, I should say. Uh, it's looking fairly nice. I've got to say. As I hope I haven't frozen. No, I haven't. Uh, it's looking quite stable. The dynasty as a sort of as a whole is kind of fairly stable. It's fairly large, and but I need to basically get more titles under my belt. So basically, I like this message is basically saying that my brother holds some titles that should be rightfully mine. So I'm going to respectfully request those titles. So I'm not entirely sure whether I got those titles. I don't think I did actually, which is a bit annoying. I will make a move. And he does indeed make bed the last there. But yeah, apart from that, that's my overall plans as a whole at the moment, is to really try and dedicate myself to the channel as much as I can at the moment. Obviously, there are other reasons why I haven't really been doing other games as such. You know, and I will be diversifying the games that I do play. In the future, obviously, and a few more guides, I would say. Few more how-to guides on this channel. And I'm also going to set up a politics channel where I discuss UK events and sort of give my analysis, because that's where my real strength lies. As you know, I was trained in, or trained in that kind of thing. So, yeah. I will acknowledge that she is mine, but I will not legitimize. So I will let you know as soon as that is up and ready to go. And I'm kind of wondering whether I should kind of try and pick off a few of these. Right, but what is actually mine? Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what is actually my home county. No, what is my capital? That needs to be found. Really does need to be found. Oh, this is odd. Hang on. Oh, right, okay. Before we jump into any wars, I'm actually going to build up a few pennies, so I can actually afford to do such a thing. So I will, as I was saying, I will let you know as and when that does appear. Obviously, there are lots of things going on in the European Union at the moment, which warrants attention. Obviously, I do know the mechanisms of the European Union, but I'm by no means an expert, and therefore it'll be quite a sort of not a detailed analysis. I will probably stick in the realms of my strengths and what I was really taught from university. as far as as far as from a geopolitical standpoint. Uh, and the role of the media when it comes to reporting this case. Uh, because I do think the European like crisis as a whole, although is extremely bad and no one can dispute that. Um, I find the media is sort of obviously they have to report the facts, and they are reporting the facts, and they're doing it reasonably well. But I just think some of their language could be better as a whole. When it comes to delivering the facts, if you know what I mean. So, for example, the you know, there are certain news outlets that are reporting it a certain way, and I don't think it's really helping the situation as a whole, and giving the the public much sort of faith in the in European governments. So I think that could be tidied up, and they could just be sort of reporting the facts. Obviously, with every news outlet, there are going to be a slight spin on how certain things are presented, but you know. I don't think, and I will sort of extend that now and say that because of that reason, the European Union as a whole, as an organisation, isn't really going to. Hang on, I'm just reading. What the message there? I will accept that. The European Union is sort of, kind of really skeptical to act because they don't want to be perceived in a certain way. If they decide, for example, it has been just reported today that they've finally sort of arranged a summit to discuss. I don't know how concretely, of course, the redistribution of the migrants across Europe. Now, of course, there was a resolution that was passed the previous night that stated that by they recognise that this is a problem and that they need to act as a unified organisation, and there were a few countries that refused to assist when it comes to the redistribution. But of course, today will be the proof in the pudding, so to speak. Whether though the resolution that was passed last night will actually be ratified, and the treaty will go forward. I believe it will. I believe it will because Germany is a real driving force behind the European Union, especially in regards to this matter. Obviously, they've sort of decided to, take the lead and offer. I believe it was 800,000 places to the refugees or economic migrants or whatever you want to call them. I prefer to call them refugees. In the main, obviously there will be economic migrants in that sphere, but it's going to predominantly be refugees wanting to escape the crisis. Right, so I don't really like those stats. But, as I said, that will be... Okay, he's got the trait cynical. That's fine. So yeah, that's what I believe anyway. Whether this crisis will indeed cause the European Union to falter somewhat is to remain to be seen. I would like to think that the organisation will be forever changed by this event. That is painfully obvious. The Schengen zone has, to this point, utterly failed. Or the Schengen agreement has utterly failed because by the simple act of these people turning up on the doorstep, literally all the countries that are in the respective paths of the sort of refugees slash migrants will have indeed closed most of their borders. Now, of course, I'm not blaming them for this at all. If I sort of saw 10,000 sort of people coming towards my borders, and I'll be like, oh, how could we deal with this sort of volume of people coming to our poor little country with a substandard or a less than adequate infrastructure, as is the case with some Eastern European nations, because obviously they've had a period, they've come out of a long period of Soviet and communist influence. So, yeah, those countries are still trying to build up their infrastructure. So I'm in no means sort of surprised as to why they're doing this. It is the simple sort of fact that that they have done it, and therefore they don't trust certain elements to come in a system if required. It's kind of a every country for themselves sort of situation at the moment, which is not really very helpful when it comes to resolving crisis. So I'm very pleased to see Germany sort of and others, obviously there are others that are sort of saying, we'll take most of them. We will take most of them. Whether it's practical or not, again, remains to be seen. But as I said, the whole Schengen sort of agreement slash zone is, in my opinion, completely and utterly sort of been torn up and thrown in the bin at this point, unless there is a massive change in general general sort of plan is put in place. I don't see that changing anytime soon. It will be obviously it's still in play at the moment, but whether whether it will be soon, I don't think it will. To be perfectly honest, because in case of any other incidents, okay. And obviously, I've not really spoken about the Middle Eastern sort of the Middle Eastern sort of perspective here. Obviously, they're not they're not completely out of sort of the picture here. There are certain elements that have quite rightly said, "Hang on a minute, why are the sort of people in their region sort of taking a role in this whole affair?" And the simple reason is that the region is already destabilized massively, and they're fearful that it would just lead to a further escalation of 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 the entire sort of how can I put this problem in the region, because obviously Syria has got a long-standing civil war, and if suddenly everyone poured over the border to, say, for argument's sake, Saudi Arabia, now that's kind of the one of the richer sort of countries in the region. But if suddenly everyone started rushing over to Saudi Arabia, and that would just cause mayhem. Obviously, it's causing mayhem for the European sort of union as a whole at the moment, but we have got the somewhat to a degree the infrastructure to deal with it, and that's what I believe. And also it's the migrants' own choice to come in this direction, because they believe, Europe is fairly rich, and will be fairly safe, which they're not wrong, obviously. So, it's a very complicated issue. With that said, I will stop talking about politics and continue on with the game, and we are just chugging on quite nicely. As I said, I am hopefully going to that. I can't really afford to really have people sort of not like me at this moment in time, because I am fairly weak as a result, really. But we've actually sort of got a bonus out of that, so I'm not too bothered. But we will wait and see as to the response of the union later on today. I would like to think that they resolve this relatively quickly. Right, educate child. I think he might be an heir, but we'll just educate him there. We will talk to, yes, that's fine, he will go there. That would mean I would try not to upset my liege too much, because you don't really want that to happen too much. Let's have a look at the military state of affairs. At the moment, we've got 800 men, with the equivalent of 1,600 in total, which is fairly nice, I would say. I would like to improve that, really, and ruefully. There we are. That's the capital, even. We could also build sort of things here. I am indeed going to build a new training grounds, because that will cost us just a little bit of prestige, essentially, and give us a nice boost. But I hope you sort of understand the sort of the explanation I have given really up to this point, and I will, of course, as I said, create another channel so I can basically rant, and it's not going to affect this particular channel. Although you could can I basically sort of say, yes, we would like to sort of hear more of this on this channel, or maybe not, it's up to you. You are the people that watch this channel and whatnot, so and I think I'm going to call it a day at this point now. I'm going to let it go to 9:10 even, and then I'm going to call this episode done for now, and then later on I will sort of, just come back. Ready? We've got some nice prestige building right up now. And how much is it to create that title? $200 prestige, which we will be chugging along nicely towards getting, and 188 gold, which is again a nice little bonus. Again, I hope that I haven't bored you to tears today. I just thought I would sort of give you another side of Kyle, obviously. I've done this before where you know I do indeed talk about politics, but I never know how that's received too much. So yeah, it'd be pretty awesome to find out how you sort of see it. Acknowledge. Probably not a good idea to really. Uh, Actually, that's the point. Who is my heir currently? Oh, damn. Because oh, god damn it! I'll do it. I will do it. No. My wife is pregnant again. Oh, we've actually gone over the said time. So until next time, I have been Strategical Gamer. Bye bye for now. And I hope you've appreciated this video. So if you do, please drop it a like. And until next time, I have been Strategical Gamer. And also, you know, I would really appreciate if you are new, if you would subscribe. That would be amazing. Okay, dude. Okay, dude. Okay, guys. I will see you next time. Bye bye for now.